My mind blowing from the 420 growing. And don't judge me, cause even at night, I'm like a bright light and I'm glowing. I'm on a boat rowing, the moonlight shining off the river, freestyle. And guess what? The breeze is ever flowing. I be knowing the truth, and it smells worse than your colon. I graduated from the same school as General Powell Colin. In Harlem, New York, where I studied and I was molded, where a crackhead killed my aunt, and the same night his life was stolen.
Facts.
Divine Street Justice, the Daily News did the reporting.
It's your host, Crypto Wonder from the Crypto Wonder Podcast. Hope you're doing well. Let's get right into it. What does it profit a man to gain the world while he sells his soul? What does it profit a man to gain the world at the expense of selling his own soul, you know? I don't know. Like, I look at what do they call it? Ofac, the Office of Foreign Assets, blah blah blah. And they seem like they're really applying the pressure on crypto, and specifically Ethereum, with Vitalik out at the helm, and I guess the developers. When I say Ethereum, I'm talking about Ethereum 2.0, because we have other chains that folks want to pretend do not exist. Boggles my mind. And so, with this whole Ofac changes or introducing regulations and basically censorship methods, that's not a good look for Ethereum. That's not a good look for Ethereum 2.0. Right now, to be quite honest with you, as far as me, I don't even like Ethereum 2.0 right now. Because after so many years of using the blockchain, once the merge took place, we already knew that wasn't going to even, that wasn't going to do anything to the price of fees. So there's a lot. I mean, like, if you're staking, right? Let's say you're staking Hex, and to end stake, you have to pay so much money. To me, $1 is too much. I remember one time Vitalik, in his early crypto life, he mentioned something to the effect, and don't quote me, but he mentioned something to the effect of 5 cents was too expensive. Paying 5 cents for a transaction was too expensive. Right? And so if you have some type of small stake in Hex that's coming, that you have to end, and you have to pay X amount of fees, X amount of dollars. Sometimes the fees cost more than the actual stake. It just doesn't make sense. But that's not even the issue. The issue right now is being blacklisted, having your addresses blacklisted because Ofac is not feeling you. Because that's really what it is. Ofac is not feeling your financial independence. Ofac is not feeling your sovereignty. He is not feeling your attempt to be free, to experience financial freedom. So there's a good chance that a lot of addresses could be blacklisted. You got to pay to play. There's a certain thought that people have where if you want to understand and if you want to get to a point where you understand legacy coming into the crypto space, and when I mean legacy, I'm talking about banks, corporations, what they call institutions. If you want big money to come into the space, they're not going to come into the space if there are no rules and regulations. Legacy, in other words, legacy won't come into the space if they can't control the space with their cronyism. Because a person like me, I grew up in the Western part of the world. I understand capitalism very well. It was here before I was born. Will be here way long after I'm gone. I understand it. I understand the purpose of it, and I've learned to enjoy it. But when you have attempts that are constantly and will always be made to cut your opportunity, right? To block your opportunity, to stop your chances of having some type of sound economic base, money on your own terms, on your own, based on the efforts that you've done, right? I mean, it goes against the principles of what this whole peer-to-peer electronic cash white paper that Satoshi created in 2008. Like some of these principles that we try to believe in of what crypto is all about. No intermediaries. It's just you, someone else, and a blockchain. These people are just they're not trying to understand that. They're not trying to, forget about understand. They understand it and they're afraid. They're not trying to hear it. How dare you want to become financially independent without their say so? Never mind if you want to just, build your own generational wealth base through crypto and abide by paying taxes, etc., etc. Never mind that. No, they want to shut it. They want to shut it down and take over, period. They literally just do not want you to have anything and for you to be happy. That's just really what it's boiling down to. And it's crazy how Ethereum 2.0 merge took place, and less than a month later, we're hearing all this noise about how centralized 2.0 has become, POS, how Ofac is really putting their foot on the neck on top of Ethereum 2.0, right? How things have just changed in weeks. And this is not something that's brand new. They've been planning this for a while. You can't act as if this wasn't part of the design. Just kowtow and give in, hearing about how World Economic Forum handles, right, or the handlers for Vitalik too, You talk about a young billionaire, a man who created the first blockchain to introduce smart contracts to the world, doing things that folks can't even fathom or conceptualize ever in their entire lifetime, that propped him up to be, become a successful crypto person, definitely well off and paid billionaire, has to kowtow. Why? Because does he believe that without legacy you can't win? Because this is what I was saying again with the school of thought. There's some people that really believe in order to have legacy, participate the big money, this adoption talk that we hear about a lot. Let's talk, mass adoption, onboarding, on board. We need the people to come into crypto. Again, for many, if there are no rules, they're not coming in. Because right now, to me, it's still the Wild Wild West. It's the Wild Wild West. Crypto, they say it's for everybody. But when you read between the lines, it's not for everybody. Because everybody's not ready for that. Everybody can't handle being responsible for their own assets. People literally can't handle that. They've been conditioned, been programmed to think differently. Up to this point, crypto's going to be 14 years old. Bitcoin's going to be 14 years old in January since its first Genesis block. Up to this point, people were trained to just trust in these banks and these custodians, fiduciary trusts, these terms they use to let you know that you are not to trust yourself with your own assets. You cannot trust yourself with your own assets because you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the patience, you don't have the emotional intelligence and control and balance required to be successful, but they do, and they can do it for you. And they'll give you peanuts for your money. And when you need your money, you got to jump through hoops. Censorship resistant. Out the window. With Ofac. Out the window. Am I missing something when I say that the best time to onboard people into crypto is during the bear? No. Am I missing something when I say, let me repeat this again. Am I missing something when I say that the best time to onboard people into cryptocurrency is during the bull market? It's the best time. When anything and everything you throw at the market, you're more than likely to make some type of profit, at least ROI. And ROI is just like a given. You will make more than that. So that is the best time to get people, to get the eyes, get the attention, get all the adoption that you want. Up to this point, without regulation or the levels of regulation that they're trying to introduce. But now during the bear market, like, let's be for real here. Let's be for real. Let's be for real. Because I know just from experience, from doing the research, from doing the work on my own time, my own dime, my own energy, I know what as far as the difference when you're onboarding during a bull market and during the bear market. I know what both markets yield. It's a lot harder during the bear. People don't care when I tell them about Hex and what Hex has done. They don't care because they look at the performance of Hex within the last year. They don't look at it from 2 years ago, 2.5, now it's going to be 3 years. They don't look at that. They don't think about, the mechanics of Hex. They don't think about what can happen if you stake your coins long term instead of saving using some type of old school ancient savings account that produces dust by way of interest for you on a yearly basis. Folks don't care. And on top of that, Hex, you responsible for your own keys. You're your own bank. Are you kidding me? You think people are ready for that? Like you'd want to believe people are ready for that. They're not. They're not. Do you think people from a large scale care that Ofac is trying to blacklist addresses and keep you from utilizing contracts, utilizing addresses? It's almost like, hey, listen, you out. They're just phasing you out. And where's the outrage? Where's the outrage? What people are going to say, I mean, I don't know what people are going to say. I don't know. My thing is one thing I've always seen and realized just from studying history and markets and understanding markets and just learning about people and human behavior. When you try to oppress people, human beings are going to find so many ways to show you how resilient they really are. When you try to oppress people, eventually there will be some type of pushback, and you will see how resilient people are. Some people believe Pulse Chain will be the answer to this whole thing with Ofac, and Pulse Chain can't come soon enough. Well, you see the issues Pulse Chain is having. And when I say issues, meaning the latest development of how it's not going to fork Binance Smart Chain. Pulse Chain is going to be a fork of Ethereum 2.0, which just occurred September 14, 2022. I'm not a coder. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a blockchain developer. I don't know what those implications are. But I'm going to magically hold on to this ethereal thought of have no expectations from profit from the work of others. It's all I can do. That's all I can do. Right? Why isn't Ofac leaning on these other, I don't know. I don't know what Ofac, I'm not going to say why aren't they, but people dismiss the Ethereum proof of work chains that were forked around the same time the Ethereum merge took place. They dismiss the Ethereum fork chains because that's going to be a wait and see approach. As with all things, it's about wait and see. wait and see what happens. But I don't hear Ofac trying to blacklist anything on Ethereum proof of work or Ethereum Fair. Hey, who knows what the future? Wait and see. Wait and see. I'm not going to wait and see any doom and gloom. My whole aspect in this whole thing is always about looking for that ray of light. Looking for a way of light, the ray of light, some way to solve an issue. I don't just try to live in the dark and act like doom is and gloom. Absolutely not, because in many cases, this is what the powers that be want. They want to not only stop you, but prevent you and to shake you out of the market permanently. This is what it's all about. This is really what it's all about. It's about us versus them. And they could care less about us. They could care less about us becoming financially free. They could care less. And it challenges, like it's weird because in some cases, like if you want to exist in this system, how can you come outside of it and still live in it and think you're not going to be subjected to penalties of being penalized? You still want to live in the system? Well, you got to pay your taxes. Something that's literally unconstitutional. You got to pay it anyway, though. Taxes they are voluntary. You still have to pay it. You got to live in the system, right? You got to pay your taxes. You want to live abroad, go somewhere else, blah, blah, blah. You got to pay your taxes, like to the U.S. Once like I'm not a CPA or a tax accountant. Do your research. Let me know if I made something incorrect. If you retire and whatever business person, blah, 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 you try to go somewhere, whatever. Part of what I'm trying to say is when you are part of this system, you forced to abide by the system, abide by the rules. But then here we have this crypto. And they're like, wow, it's twisting them up because they're losing power. And they do not want that power to be lost because the power is being transferred from their hands onto the hands of the people who are at the bottom of the social structure of the pyramid. We're at the bottom. We're at the bottom. And as long as crypto is here, crypto is going to continue to thrive, and the network effects across the board are becoming stronger by the day. Those who are at the bottom are becoming more powerful by the day if you know what you're doing. And that is something that is frowned upon by the powers that be. Do you think I was excited when Grayscale was just greedily buying up all this Bitcoin? Buying up all this Bitcoin. That just didn't even sound correct to me. Yes, granted, there's a fixed amount, but just you have over 500,000. I don't even know. 2-3 years ago, they had 500,000 or whatever it was 2 years ago, whatever. I'm sure it's a lot more now. Like, what is that one entity? And then there's few other entities that are similar. They may not have as much. I mean, come on, I don't even know. Maybe BlackRock, the largest corporation, financial corporation in the world. It's a beast, powerhouse, scooping up real estate by droves. Imagine BlackRock being your landlord if you're a renter. These corporations are swallowing up everything that they can see, they could find in sight, siphoning every type of economic energy, and especially because crypto is so young. Crypto is like in its infancy still. You look at the market cap; it's pennies. It's pennies. It pales in comparison compared to all the value of the economic of legacy, whatever, everything in legacy that you can discuss. The whatever market cap or whatever value, cumulative value of cryptocurrency pales in comparison to the trillions and trillions and untold hundreds of trillions of dollars, thousands of trillions that you find in legacy. And before crypto becomes something, they want to stamp it out. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I don't know. Scream when pulse chain. Like, we got to think bigger at this point. We got to think bigger. There are world events that are taking place, scary as all hell. Could change your reality in a minute. Look what the last 3 years brought. Nothing but confusion, division, dissension, contention. And just to see how like people just can't see past their nose. People just can't see past their nose. It's all about self. It's all about self-preservation. It's all about you today. It's all about your interests. Forget about everything else, right? That's how people behave. Look, that's how I behave. I'm no different. But at the same time, I try to acknowledge things that are going on that could have a direct impact on the way things are. And adversely affect everything that we have as we know it. Imagine the same sacrifice wallets that you use to sacrifice, the same addresses. Imagine that getting censored, shut down. Then where we at with it? Because I understand from what they're saying, okay, pulse chain is the answer. Define how it's the answer. I may know, but I people need to define how that's the answer. Define how that will be, right? The solution to the problem. This needs to be said more. This needs to be talked about. This needs to be espoused and become a popular discussion. Instead of worrying about some stupid, some nonsense that has nothing to do with anything that's bringing value to anything we got going on. I'm going to leave you all with this before I go. If you see, some of us, like, I don't know, but in there's times where you know how you could identify a person. Well, you see a person and you've known them or you've been whatever, you're aware of them and you look at their behavior based on what they say, what they do, maybe even both. And you're able to kind of like make an assessment naturally, right? You draw some type of conclusion. Oh, this person is cool. This person is whatever, A, B, and C. This is what we do, human behavior, simple stuff. But the conclusion that you draw, you discover that other people, it's weird. Like you discover that other people might know the same individual or of the same individual, draw the same conclusion as you, and you have not had any discussions or any conversation with those said people, and no one has talked to each other, but people are beginning to draw the same conclusion. What do you think that tells you? Is everybody wrong? Hmm.